So in this here little video, we're going to be covering all the Deathclaws, from the original basic Deathclaw all the way to the mythic Deathclaw. There are a lot of different kinds and they do different things, so I thought I'd make a video covering them. Hope you enjoy. Alright, so since everyone, I'm assuming, sort of knows the Deathclaw as is, I'm just going to say some of the things that all Deathclaws have for this first portion. All Deathclaws have 10 perception, so good luck sneaking around them. And they're all immune to radiation, so leave your gamma guns at home. They're not going to do anything to these guys. On top of this, all Deathclaws have a rubble throw attack that does the same amount of damage for every Deathclaw. That's 40 damage. They all do this. It's when they sort of scoop a bunch of crap and throw it at you, and it is a ranged attack, which is interesting that they added that whole new mechanic to Deathclaws within Fallout 4. So that's the first Deathclaw. Nothing much to go on. You know what a Deathclaw is, a big lizard monster that smacks you. So moving on to the next one. Moving on to the Alpha Deathclaw, which I want to note on real quick. That doesn't really make sense in Fallout 4 because Deathclaws don't travel in packs, and I believe that Alpha is in connotation to being the leader of a pack. But anyway, regardless, the Alpha Deathclaw is a lot faster and has a lot more health than the normal Deathclaw, and he does more damage, and that's pretty much the basis to him. He has the curved horns going upward, as you can see, and he has like a tint of red. In the Alpha is also only arguably the second or the third worst Deathclaw, actually, compared to the original one. He's only a step up, or arguably one more step up, so not as much of a threat compared to the other ones. So next up we have the Deathclaw Matriarch, which you may not have known, but the Deathclaw Matriarch is the mother Deathclaw. For a while I thought that was sort of missing, and you actually could have first seen these in Fallout 3 through a mod. It wasn't in the base game. I believe it was through Mart's Mutant mod. There were Deathclaw Matriarchs, and I didn't know. I thought that was just a higher ranking Deathclaw, but it is a mother Deathclaw. Now these guys, when I said debatably the alpha male may have been the strongest or the second strongest, these guys have less health than the alpha males, but they have a lot more damage. They do 30 more damage. So right there, those are your two above the normal basic Deathclaw. Moving on to the glowing Deathclaw. These guys, I think, are a tier above the past three that we've covered. They do have 200 more health than the Alpha Deathclaw. They're at 1,000, the Alpha's at 800, and he's the next one up in the past three that we've done. And they do slightly less damage than the Matriarch, but they have this other attack called the Rad Field. It's 5 radiation per second, so they have another layer to the attacks that they're capable of, and they do have a lot more health than the past couple that we've covered. And as you can see from the images, they are way more irradiated than the other Deathclaws. That's what gives them that sort of glowing inner look to them. Here we are with the Savage Deathclaw. These guys are probably another tier, slight tier above the glowing Deathclaw. They do a lot more damage. These guys are sitting at 120 melee damage, where the glowing was only at 90, and he only has 90 less health, so he's sort of making up for it with all that damage, and that's not a lot of health in terms of Deathclaws, considering even the base Deathclaw has 510 health, so you're not taking a lot away with 90. He's still sitting at 910 health, and these guys, as you can see, they have sort of a broken off horn, I guess to symbolize that they are savage. Not much else to them though, they're just bigger and badder. Okay, coming up next is the Albino Deathclaw. These are the rarest Deathclaws. You will not be running into these too often. They're more rare than even the next two and final two on the list. These guys have more health and do more damage than any of the other Deathclaws that we've covered, and you can tell exactly how they look by, obviously, the pale skin and kind of pinkish tint to them. Honestly though, I think the specialty about these guys, like the difference, really defining difference about them compared to the other ones, is that they're just rare. That really is the thing. I've only run into one, and it was inside the Museum of Witchcraft, where I believe most people are finding a Savage Deathclaw. I don't know if it was because my level, even though Albino Deathclaws are at a higher level, so maybe if you go there later at a higher level, you'll run into an Albino Deathclaw there, but their special thing is that they're rare. Here we are at the Chameleon Deathclaw, which has to be one of the coolest Deathclaws there are. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Chameleon Deathclaw makes sense in that the Deathclaw actually is an evolved form of a chameleon in some way through a lot of different scientific testings. They were created by man before the war, and I believe also mixed with a goat in some way. That's where they get the horns. Really strange creature, besides the point. They change colors with their environment. 3 different colors as far as I'm concerned. It's red, blue, and green. As you can see in the first image, their stomach was sort of changing. These guys have more health and do more damage than all of the other Deathclaws, and they're the second strongest Deathclaws. Really cool creature here. Even though, let's be real, that they're not hiding. You're not fooling anyone changing colors. Actually, these ones are probably a little bit easier to see because they're these bright saturated colors, but still cool, so whatever. The final Deathclaw, the very last big baddie. These guys, not much special about them other than they're just way stronger than every other Deathclaw. They do 25 more melee damage than this second place Chameleon Deathclaw, and they have over 100 more health than the Chameleon Deathclaw. These guys are just way stronger. Now, mythic, the name, just means fictional almost. You know, just sort of fake and unrealized, which is odd because I don't know how that really connects to what they do other than they're just stronger than everything else. Now, to give some perspective on how strong these guys are, they're almost more on tier with some of the higher level behemoths. No behemoth has any armor, and although some of the higher tier ones have more health, the epic and ancient have more health than the mythic Deathclaw does. The epic behemoth doesn't have any armor, so the mythic Deathclaw is probably going to have a lot more health in it and does only a little bit less melee damage. And the ancient behemoth does have armor, but not nearly as much as the mythic Deathclaw. So the mythic Deathclaw is starting to really tier up towards the behemoths. Okay, so that's all 8 Deathclaws in the base vanilla game. One thing though, I did run into a juvenile Deathclaw in my Ghoul Kid Let's Play that I'm doing on my channel. Not sure if that's a mod. I think it is because I haven't seen anything else on the internet on it. I've looked it up. It's not on the wiki. There are no other videos on it. So I'm not sure if that's a mod. If you have run into that, let me know in the comments below. And also, tell me what you guys think of the Deathclaws. Do you like them? Do you like all the different types, or did you like sort of the whole pack thing that they had going on New Vegas, or do you prefer sort of the lone, almost, the difference is almost like the Deathclaws in New Vegas are they're like lions, but in Bethesda's in Fallout 3 and 4 they're almost like tigers, these lone sort of killers. But I don't know, let me know what you think on the Deathclaws in Fallout 4, and catch you next time. Hey, subscribe maybe, comment, yeah, comment, and like if you dislike. I know it doesn't say that in the little image, but you know what to do. And I mean, if you disliked it, okay, I'm gonna leave now.
Cattle in the old corral, the open range all round, sunlight and the smell of new mown hay. I remember though I've wandered and much happiness I've found.